Are you positive in regards to the future?
Well, I'm positive I'm positive about it, but I also have to remember, because I deal so much with the public, that I have to keep counseling people who don't feel positive.
Mm-hmm.
And they look at what's happening, and they see so much immorality and treachery from people and so much undercutting. And then they try helpfully to talk about these kinds of conspiratorial or alternative history subjects, and they get put down and snubbed.
Sure.
So I'm constantly reminding people to, be aware of that, that, you're dealing with people of the lie. And another thing I'd like to say is pretty radical, but a lot of people who, when they're born, especially those who've chosen the inauthentic life, like we were talking about in the beginning of this series of shows about the inauthentic life and the tree of guilt,
Yeah, sure.
Those people who've chosen the inauthentic life, Henrik, there's a taboo against killing yourself physically, like suicide. So a lot of what human beings do when they realize that they're committed, and I mean absolutely committed, to a life of total extroversion, sensationality, mediocrity, going to work, just a 9 to 5, there's a lot of people who know that they don't have the energy to make those changes, and they know they don't have the energy to be moral or virtuous people. But they, at the same time, cannot, kill themselves because there's actually sort of a taboo in another part of the ego against that.
Yeah, sure.
So what you see when you look around the world is people committing slow suicide, so slowly that they're not even aware of it consciously themselves. So don't be frustrated tomorrow when you're trying to talk to a group of people, you see, or some friends, and they're not listening to what you're saying. My God, you people need to wake up and realize this is a person who's already dying.
Yeah.
Spiritually, psychically, emotionally. He may have already murdered his own emotions. This person, either through alcohol or through just endless immersion into the world's, situation,
Yeah.
or through immoral deeds or self-sadism, there's a whole cocktail of different ways you can do it.
Yeah.
But mentally, it's a mental idea that people stretch out their death over 20, 30 years, and it's done so gradually they're not even really aware they're doing it. So by the time you're meeting somebody at 30, 29, 35 years of age, you might be talking to somebody who's already partly, psychically a corpse. And then you're wondering why this person isn't getting your light and getting the fact that, you're talking about some very spiritual, illustrious and very, very lofty kind of ideas. Well, I'll tell you the reason. I look around and I see, remember we were talking one time about Thanatos instinct, the death instinct?
Yeah.
And this is connected to the Shiva energy and it's connected to Pluto, and that we see it in people all the time, and it's one of these instincts. When you see this fast pace of life, a lot of people critique the fast pace of life, and people just running about, frenetically all over the world, just busy with all the rubbish of the world. One way of looking at all haste is that this is part of the slow suicide thing. People are anxious to hurry as fast as they can to the grave.
That's true, yeah. I mean,
think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
What on earth would all this rushing about be? If you step back and look at it, you say, well, of course they're rushing around like that in the sensual world, because one, the rushing around helps you to forget that you have a soul and that you have any meaning or purpose. And the second thing is you're rushing like a mad one because you're so sick of your mediocrity that you're so itching for death. This is the Thanatos instinct. You're so itching for annihilation that you and the rest of society is moving at breakneck speed in order to really get to that point of annihilation, subliminally. There's such a subliminal death instinct in you. And I'll bet you this is confirmed by a lot of analysis. People on Madison Avenue certainly know it because you only have to watch their rock videos, rap videos, and commercials to see that they play on the death instinct enormously.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the different commercials and heroin chic and all sorts of rubbish that they're into is showing you this death instinct at work, or the super denial of it, because it's in two different ways. It's like, oh, no, I'm not of that. I'm of the super solar shining, sunny side of the street mentality, but again, that's based on the death instinct. So we have people here, who can save themselves a lot of trauma, the protagonists. When you see antagonists, the mask slipping down and people acting in a bizarre way, realize that, look, wait a minute, you should be carving the headstone here because these people are not real, they're not sane, and they're not even fully alive. So don't waste your time on them.